Good day, everyone. So, our topic for today is all about classroom management. So, what do you think is the primary purpose of classroom management? And why is it important in the context of teaching and learning? So, unsa juday ni ka-importante ang classroom management sa ato ang learning? Sa atong lesson karon, ato nang ma-answer mo nang i-prepare inyong ears and don't forget to take note. Prior to my discussion, I have shown here an image. Just write your thoughts on how would you face the given situation as a future teacher. So kung kamo itanawin niyo ang self nga teacher na mo. So and then write the solution or inyong thoughts about this image. So first we have this. Second, third, fourth, and lastly, we have this. Okay, just keep your answer for we will discuss about it later and let's see if you can manage a classroom effectively. Tanawon na to kung sakto ba na inyong mga thoughts, inyong mga solution nga gipang sulat. Classroom management. So classroom management is the process of organizing and conducting the business of the classroom, relatively free of behavior problems. So, would you agree ba? Diba it is clear naman that through classroom management, atong malikayan kung unsa man ang problema inside the four corner, particularly the behavior problems kanang kagubot sa sulod sa classroom. So, it is all about making sure na ang classroom nato runs smoothly and everyone can learn without too many disruptions. It can be made with organizing the classroom layout to help student focus and reducing distractions. Usa pod kay si teacher mag-set of clear rules for behavior, reminding student often to follow them and so on. In short, ang classroom management kay isa na siya para mahapsay and ma-organize ang atoang klase or ang atoang classroom. So, ana ka importante ang classroom management sa sulod sa classroom. Atong ma-manage ang atoang mga students. Labi na ang katong mga bugoy nga mga students. Unsaon na nato pag-handle ang ilang mga behavior. So, that is what classroom management is all about. So we have here the principles of classroom management. So first, consistent proactive discipline is the crux of effective classroom management. The most important or crucial dokuno for a good classroom management is what? Dapat you are consistent ug proactive ka sa pag-discipline to prevent unnecessary disciplinary problems to happen. Dili kay maghulat lang ka sa problema aya ka mo take action, di ba? Dapat proactive jud ka at the same time consistent ka kung unsa man na imong way nga pag-discipline sa student. So example is that you can apply at all times and establish rules and policies to all students regardless of their religion, color, and economic status. So nasabtan ba? Next, we have establish routines for all daily tasks and needs. Sabotable naman siya, di ba? So, lahi nga teacher, lahi po og routines. For example, uban teacher, di ba nga, pagsulod niya, dapat naka-stand up and naka-great na tanan. Tapos, ang uban naka-assign natin sa opening prayer of the day. Another thing is that, di ba sa inyo naka-assign na kung kinsa ang energizer nga day. Nasa uban nga nakapikit na sa ilang bulletin sa classroom bulletin ang cleaners of the day. So that is how you establish a routines. Kung naka-routinize man gud ang ato ang procedures, so trust me, it saves a lot of time and effort in your part as a teacher. So mo na siya ang naka-importante jud nga dapat ang imong procedures naka-routinize na, aware na ang mga students kung unsa ilang himuon, dili na kay maghulat pa sugo-sugoon, di ba? And third, we have strike a balance between variety and challenge in students' activity. Kung atong mga activities sa student is naka-variety, it will ensure that the students' multiple intelligences and varied learning style are considered in the conduct of student activities. Knowing also that it will offer a diverse range of experience sa students. So it is expected na nga they are motivated to learn og na inganyo sad sila. Di ba kung the more engaging ang isa ka classroom, the more fun ang mga activity, mga learning activity, the more sad ma-motivate ang student nga maka-learn. But make sure sad nga ang task nga imong ginapabuhat sila is appropriate lang ang complexity sa ilang skill level. Bali ang mga challenge nga ilang gakakuan kay level lang bitaw kung unsa ang ilahang skills. Dili kay magpa-activity ka nga sobra sad kalisod. So, next we have, as classroom manager, be aware of all actions and activities in the classroom. So, ako lang diyang maingon kay, it is important to have eyes on the back of your heads. Be overjoyed of what is happening in the classroom. Dili kay hibat-hibat lang, dili kay baliwalaan lang. Dapat aware jud ka kung unsa man ang nahitabo sa imuhang classroom. Okay. Next, we have resolve minor inattention and disruption before they become major disruption. So, dili ta maghulat again nga mudako kung magubot ang all. Dili ta maghulat nga magkagubot na ang all, magkayagaw na. So, we ought to respond to inappropriate behavior promptly before the class is out of control. Labi na karon ng mga estudyante nga perti na jud kabadlongon. Samot na diba sa public nga perti jud ka diverse lahi ang mga students nga imong ma-encounter. So, before mo dako ang ilang ulo, so as much as possible, atong badlongon. Ato dyan na silang badlongon. So, dapat na kay authorities inside the classroom. Kay, kung without authorities side, nga mamadlong ka, di dyan po na sila mabinaw. So, and lastly, we make sure that the use of every instructional moment, I make good use of every instructional moment. Minimize lang ang pag-discipline side. Kaya kung taga-adlaw ka nga, sige pangasaba. Kung sa may mahitabo sa students. Diba, pulaan na ng mga estudyante kung every seconds, every minutes ka mga saba. So, i-minimize lang nato at on time para ma-maximize po ang ato ang instructional time. So, ayaw saya nga ay mag-effortan o gihaguan ng instruction. Next, we have the good classroom techniques.
A good classroom techniques, there are several effective classroom techniques that educators can use to create an engaging and productive learning environment. The first is witness. It's the skill to know what is going on in all parts of the classroom at all times. So it's mean teachers who use witness notice the behavior of all students and respond quickly to unexpected events. For example, the capacity to perceive the needs of curious students with accuracy and care. So that's a witness. So number 2 is overlapping. Overlapping means handling 2 or more activities or groups at the same time. So an example of overlapping, it could be incorporating technology-based tools such as interactive whiteboards or educational apps into a student-centered learning approach. Number 3 is smoothness. Smoothness is the ability to make smooth lesson transitions, keep an appropriate pace, and involve all students in a lesson. For example, teaching a lesson while maintaining the student focus, transitioning from one subject to the next without losing the students or having a lot of disruption. Smoothness refers to the first ability to keep the classroom running in an organized fashion. So jerkiness, the jerkiness is the teacher fails to develop a consistent flow of instructions, those causing students to feel lesson momentum jerks from slow to fast. And also a jerkiness can be avoided by not observing any of the following. Stimulus bounded, a teacher's attention interrupted by extraneous stimulus. So teachers who allow themselves to be distracted by outside stimuli and move the class attention to that distraction. And also like the students are now off task and have trouble re-engaging in the task and engage in misbehavior. Number 2 is trust. A teacher bursts into activities without assessing student readiness and gives orders, statements, or questions that only confuse students. So another meaning of trust is teacher interrupts students engage in activities without warning or considering whether students are ready or not. Number 3 is dangle. Dangle is the teacher ends an activity or drops a topic before it is completed. 4 is truncation. The teacher ends an activity abruptly. Number 5 is flip-flop. Flip-flop, teacher terminates one's activity, goes to another, and then returns to the previously terminated activity, or teacher lacks clear direction and sequence of activities. Number 6 is momentum. Momentum is the force and flow of a lesson, or an effective lesson pulls the student along. So group focus. Focus is the process where the whole class is involved with the use of the teacher's alerting techniques. First is antiseptic bouncing. Antiseptic bouncing is asking a student to leave the room. So the term of antiseptic bouncing refers to a classroom management strategy used by educators to prevent behavior from escalating. Number 2 is program restructuring. It is a recognizing a poor lesson. Number 3 is a human effect. Makes use of joke to release tension in a tense situation. Number 4 is interest boosting. Response directed to a student that seems to be losing interest in a lesson. Number 5 is a signal interference. It is to non-verbal response to stop students' misbehavior. Number 6 is a plan ignoring. Plan ignoring an action that the students may be doing for attention. And the last is a direct appeal. Direct appeal is a responding when appropriate.
Hello everyone. Our lesson for today is a continuation of the topic classroom management. We are assigned to discuss the effective questioning and reacting techniques and the principle of punishment. Okay, so without further ado, let's start. Effective learning starts with questions, not answers. Of course, imagine that you are a real teacher. If you really want to know if our students learned about what we've discussed, of course, it always starts with questions, not the answer. Mag-ask yun ta before o questions, ay ha gyud na ang answer. Kay paano ka makabalo sa ilahang mga answers if wala ka nag-ask og questions, di ba? So, that's it. Okay, let's proceed to the number 2. Interactive teaching is made possible with teachers' effective questioning and reacting techniques. Okay, so when we say interactive teaching, it depends on the teachers on how or they manage the classroom. If dili ka gusto nga boring imong class, you ask some questions during in your discussions. Dili lang kay bisag wala na namino imong mga students, padayon lang Japon ka. Dapat ikaw nga teacher mo observe jud ka sa imong mga students. Kay maong mana ang ato ang rule mo deliver ta sa ato ang lessons, then dapat maka-learn pud sila. Now, let's proceed to the third one. Questioning enables teachers to check learners' understanding. Okay, so through the series of questions, Manggod, you will check if your students understand the lesson. So it is important to ask questions during discussion so that we will know that their attention is on us. Then di hapon na to mahibawan if naabad jud na learn si student. We are done with the principle of learning. Now, let's proceed to the types of questions the teacher asks. There are three types of question that teacher ask. The first one is the factual, convergent, close, or low level. Okay, so when we say factual, it only have one acceptable answer, and it answers the questions what, when, where, and who. So it's very understandable, right? The second one is the divergent, open-ended, high-level, higher order, or conceptual. Okay, this one is the teacher will accept more than one answer. That is why it's open-ended. Example of this is debate because it's require higher level of thinking and also it is opinionated. For example, the teacher gives a question like this: how do you define beauty? So, diba, we have different perspective man jud about beauty. So all your answers are acceptable. There are no wrong answers to this type of question. Okay, so the last type of questions the teacher asks is the affective. Affective type of questions typically target students' emotions, attitudes, and values rather than factual knowledge. Therefore, the teacher can ask students about their own views, experiences, and responses, promoting understanding from within. So, nasabtan ra ba ang three types of questions the teacher asks? Okay, now let's proceed to the questions behavior of teachers. Okay, so there are 7 questioning behavior of teacher and I will explain it one by one. Let's start with varying type of questions. This questioning behavior of teacher are those 3 types of questions that I mentioned earlier, which are the factual that accepts only one answer, divergent which is more than one acceptable answer, and lastly the affective which is based on students' views, emotions, and how they valued. Okay, so that's the first behavior of teachers, varying type of question. The second one is the asking non-directed questions. Non-directed or indirect questions are a little more formal and polite. We use them when talking to a person we don't know very well or in professional situations. Example of an indirect question is, could you tell me where the bathroom is? Diba, formal kay siya paminawon. So, what are the difference between indirect and direct questions? So, direct questions are the normal questions that we can ask friends, family members, and people who we know well. Kung ganina ang example sa indirect kay could you tell me where the bathroom is, pag-abot sa direct, inani na siya, where is the bathroom? So, direct na siya, direct to the point na ang pagpangutana. Okay, it is one of teachers' behavior. When they ask questions, it should be formal and polite. Now, let's proceed to the calling on non-volunteers. Most teachers call those students who did not raise their hands so that they could also participate in the class. So, inani gid ang mga behavior sa teacher. Katong gapataas sa kamot, of course, kabalo naman to si teacher nga, kato siya nga students is kabalo na sila sa answer. So, katong mga gahilom-hilom dyan na ilahang target ton. Kay, some of them, sa mga gahilom-hilom, kabalo, but some are not. Next is prompting. This questioning behavior of teachers refers to the intentional cues or hint used to guide students' thinking or responses during instruction. So, si teacher gina-encourage niya si students nga mo think pa beyond. Gagamit siya og mga different types of prompts such as verbal prompts, visual, or gestural to encourage students to think and respond during the instruction. Okay, if isa sa questioning behavior ni teacher si prompting, of course, dili mawala si probing. This type of questioning behavior involves asking follow-up questions that delve deeper into a topic or concept. It's about exploring ideas, clarifying understanding, and encouraging critical thinking. So, to deepen your understanding about the prompting and proving, just bear in mind that prompting provides cues or support to guide students' thinking, while proving involves asking follow up questions to delve deeper into a topic or concept. Both techniques are valuable for promoting learning and engagement in the classroom. So, nasabtan na ba si prompting and proving? Now, let's proceed to the second to the last, which is the requiring abstract thinking. So, this involves challenging students to move beyond concrete facts or examples and to engage with ideas, concepts, or problems at a higher level of complexity. So, kani siya dili lang mag-focus about learning or meaning and example. Dapat beyond pa jud siya ana. Example is the research. Okay, lastly, allowing sufficient wait time. Di ba naka-observe man mo sa ubang teachers nga after na niya muhatag og questions, muhatag sa na siya og time para to think of an answer ay siya muhatawag og students to explain na dayon. So yes, ingon ani ang ubang teachers na gina silang behavior pod niya. If galisod si students nga mo answer ana nga questions, muhatag sila og time nga para makahunaw na pagid si students sa iyang answer. So that's it. Hope you understand my discussion. Thank you. My co-student teacher will explain the rest.
Reacting behavior of teachers. Providing corrective feedback. Providing corrective feedback, essential aspect of teaching, coaching, mentoring, managing, and even personal relationship. It is a process that aims to address performance or behavior issues constructively to facilitate improvement. Providing acceptance feedback. A type of feedback acknowledges and validates someone's actions, effort, or contributions. Giving appropriate and sincere praise. Recognizing and acknowledging the value and contributions of others in a way that is genuine, specific, and supportive of their growth and development. Repeating the answer, a valuable communication tool that promotes understanding, clarity, and conversations, whether in professional or personal settings. It plays a crucial role in effective communication and fostering meaningful connections between individuals. Explaining the answer or expanding. Explaining the answer or expanding on it involves providing additional context, details, examples, or explanations to further clarify or elaborate on the initial responses. Rephrasing the questions, si teacher restating or restructuring the original query in a way that enhances clarity, addresses ambiguity, or prompts deeper explorations on the topic. Asking follow-up questions, a powerful communication tool that promotes deeper understanding, engagement, and collaborations. Redirecting questions to another pupil. Teaching and learning strategy that promotes active engagement, critical thinking, and communication skill development. It encourages students to take ownership of their learning. Soliciting students' questions or soliciting student questions or collecting more questions to the students. Encouraging through nonverbal behavior. Teachers can use various nonverbal behaviors to encourage students' participations, engagement, and positive learning outcomes in the classroom. Let us proceed to principle of punishment by Good and Brupe. First, trend of punishment is usually more effective than punishment itself, especially when praised in such a way that they are known consequences. So, refers to the potential consequences or repercussions that may result from certain behaviors or actions which are implied rather than explicitly stated. Second, punishment should be threatened or warned before implemented. A warning or punishment before implementations depend on various factors, including the need of clarity, the opportunity for corrections. The punishment should be accompanied with positive statements of expectations and rules, focusing on what students should be doing. Pairings punishment with positive statement of expectation and rules is a proactive approach to discipline that promote clarity, empowerment, self-regulation, and sense of community within the classroom. Punishment should be systematic. Systematic manner essential for promoting fairness, consistency, predictability, and accountability in disciplinary actions. Do not punish the entire class or group because of the misbehavior of an individual. Okay, so punishing the entire class or group because of the misbehavior of an individual, it is an ineffective, unfair, and detrimental to the learning environment. Instead, educators should focus on addressing individual misconduct through fair and appropriate disciplinary measures while maintaining a positive and supportive classroom atmosphere. Avoid excessive punishment since this may unite the students in solemn defense against their teachers. Avoiding excessive punishment is essential for maintaining a positive, respectful, and productive learning environment to the students. Principle of punishing students by O'Leary and O'Leary, 1977. First, use punishment sparingly. So, underscore the importance of employing disciplinary measures judiciously and in conjunction with other classroom management strategies. Make it clear why the student is being punished. Educator can foster a positive and respectful learning environment where students take responsibility for their behavior and contribute to a culture of mutual respect and responsibilities. Provide the students with alternative means of obtaining some positive reinforcement. So, offering students opportunities for recognitions, validations, and reward through positive alternative. Educators can effectively manage behavior while fostering students' and social emotional development and academic success. Reinforce with those new behavior which to weaken or eliminate. positive reinforcement to strengthen desired behaviors and weaken or eliminate undesirable ones. Avoid punishing while angry or emotional. Can make reason to decisions. Preserve positive relationship with students and create a positive learning environment conducive to students' success and well-being. Punishment, punish when inappropriate behavior starts rather than when it ends. Can effectively modify behavior, maintain order, and create a positive and conducive learning environment for all students. Avoid corporal punishment. Create an environment where all students feel respected, valued, and empowered to succeed academically and personally.